Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Show. We are two geeks who talk about everything. My name is Aaron. I'm joined by my cousin and co-host Landon.
Good day. Welcome.
How we doing, man?
Good.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Into it. I'm excited about our topic because which is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the show, because my son has read the first book. I've read the first book. I've watched the movie, and I was kind of going into this going, we'll see. But then we watched it and we all couldn't stop watching it for the four episodes that we're in. And we just did this yesterday. So we were just got up on a Saturday morning and we were just like, let's just try. And then we were stuck. And it was a cool little moment.
Yeah, it's so far it's good. Yeah, like you said, we're talking about the new adaptation of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is a long-awaited Disney Plus series that is based on the book series by Rick Riordan. And you said you read the first one,
Yeah, I read the first one. Second
Lightning
one's
Thief.
Monsters, right? I haven't read that.
So the first one's Lightning Thief, the second one is Sea of Monsters, and then they get in. There's three more after that in the first series.
Yeah.
I will say I've read the entire Percy Jackson and Olympians series. And then I've read the sequel series, Heroes of Olympus. They're both very good. I loved reading. I might like Heroes of Olympus more than actually the original five Percy Jackson books, but we're not here to talk about the books because they're, if I were to get to talk about the books, I'd reveal so many spoilers that we don't even see coming in the first book, in the first four episodes of this first season of Percy Jackson. And I assume and I hope that they are actually doing this that way, where each season is going to take one of these novels and adapt it. Um,
Me too. Me too.
as far as I'm concerned, that's the way to do it because you've got more time to flesh characters out and to build this world uh, when you've got a TV series as opposed to a movie. Now, so I will say I do love the books almost as much as I love Harry Potter. I've read through the first series two or three times, I think. Um, but did you? So you said you saw the first movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about the movie, and certainly don't want to compare because they're so different. I mean, they weren't horrible movies. I think that Chris Columbus did a decent job with the script he had. Problem is, Rick Riordan had no input, and so much of the plot got changed in both Lightning Thief and Sea of Monsters. So, and again, too, like I like Logan Lerman. He played Percy, and Alexandra Daddario played Annabeth. As actors, I think they're great, but it's hard to start off a franchise that's really about 12 and 13-year-olds when they're played by people in their 20s. You know?
That's exactly that's a problem and always a challenge. But you've also got to have like enough of a commitment for the studio to stay with it. You think about like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe coming out, and those kids aged out, pretty quickly.
Right.
But the commitment with Harry Potter was strong. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that was able to be accomplished. And hopefully this will too. This is a preface for me for a new type of engagement. For people like I think about them redoing Harry Potter on HBO Max, and having it be like series. Each season is the book, right? And going through. And I feel like that's what's happening here. I hope that's what's happening here. They definitely in four episodes made it seem like that's what they're doing, compared to the book. But I don't know. I'm liking that because it gives you more time to get invested in the characters, and not feel like you're rushing like we do so many times in these movies that try to take something that really needs to be a series and they're compressing it into 2 hours, you know?
Right. I think the same way of I don't know if you have you seen Reacher on Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
They do the same thing there. They're in their second season now, and it's based on one novel from the series of books. The
Right.
first season was based on the first novel in the series, and they did a great job adapting it, I thought. Much better than
The Tom
well, first of
Cruise.
all, the Tom Cruise movies. having Tom Cruise play Jack Reacher is just really a stretch. Um, but all that to say, it's great when they're able to do this and turn a book into a series, and you're able to stretch it out and not try to compact, 500-600 pages into maybe 2.5 hours of screen time. So yeah, so let's get to the new show. So far there have been 4 episodes, like you mentioned, and it's going to be an 8 episode first season. We will be talking spoilers, but only for what's been happening on the show thus far.
Yeah.
uh will not be dropping any bombshells from later in the book or any of the other novels here, but this is your official spoiler warning for the first 4 episodes of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So, Landon, start us off with your thoughts on episode 1, titled I Accidentally Vaporized My Pre Algebra Teacher.
Well, a couple of things. When I saw the kid, I was like, "Oh, all right, that kid from the Atom Project, right?" So he playing Percy Jackson, and I thought that was pretty cool. These A few of the actors haven't really done that much. They're young, and it's but not so much that they have like all these credits from going all the way to their being 5 or something, right? And so I thought that was pretty cool that he was in it. I only know of just a handful of things that he's been in, maybe just the two. But I also loved seeing as the teacher. What was her name? Uh,
Mullally?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's from Parks and Rec. She's from what Will and Grace.
Yeah, Will and Grace.
And of course, seeing her in this role is so different, right? You're not getting her
Different. You've ever seen her. Like, this is a very serious, like,
very serious.
menacing role. You usually you hear her like with this like high pitched comedic tone of voice too. I mean, she is scary in this.
Oh my gosh.
Even in
No,
her human form, she's scary in this.
yeah, and then, in the movie we had as is it Chiron, how do you say his name?
Chiron.
Chiron. I always said Chiron when I
Chi-
was reading the book, but
Chiron.
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 Chiron. Okay.
Like it's a K.
So I remember, wasn't it Pierce Brosnan that was playing this role
He did in the first movie, yeah.
in the movie, right? But this actor, let's see, his name is Glenn Turman. He's been a character actor in like a whole bunch of movies, like forever for us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just growing up from the 80s on, I was thinking about how he was in Gremlins. He
He
was
was the science teacher in
the
Gremlins.
science teacher, right? And just so there's been a lot of shows and movies. He was in The Wire. He was in, Jag. Pretty much any movie along the way you could or show along the way that you could think of, he's been in. So it's cool seeing him, and he's got a great voice for the role. But coming into the first episode, you immediately attach to the kid and his mother. And my hat's off to the mom. I don't think I know her very well as an actress, but I thought her acting was incredible.
Yeah.
Um,
I was gonna say, yeah, Sally Jackson, Percy's mom, she is played to perfection. Her name's Virginia Cole is the actress's name. I'm not too familiar with her either. I didn't recognize her from anything in particular. I've seen her before. I know, like, I recognize her face,
right.
but I just love like the nuance that she brings to this character.
Me too.
And we only see a little bit of her, but she is so great in the role, and just, I don't know, the love that she has for Percy is so evident in the way she plays the part.
You feel it.
Um,
Absolutely. You feel it.
she does such a great job. There are no
Um,
small roles when you look at somebody
no,
like that. This is an actress who takes that to heart. This is not a small role. This
no.
is something huge, and it's a big deal to play Percy Jackson's mom.
And the only thing that I'll say that was it felt like a lot was happening. The scene that happens outside, with him fighting the teacher and all that happened so quick. It made me maybe it just felt like it was drawn out more in the book, but it was just it felt so quick, that it was, oh, if you blinked, she pretty much attacked and she was the pin sword, that's it, and
Yeah.
so there's a lot of interest, shock and awe. There were parallels to me to Harry Potter, thinking about him, the girl going into the water, and almost like Dudley being put in the snake, place in the, it's just those kind of things. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good episode to get someone go, oh, I want to know more, you
Yeah.
know?
I was gonna say, yeah, that's I thought they did a great job introducing us to this world of demigods and monsters without giving it to us all at once.
Yeah,
See, and again, coming back to this whole idea of doing a TV show instead of a movie, you have 8 episodes, you're able to spread things out. You don't have to spend the first half hour cramming exposition and dialogue down our throats trying to explain what this world is about. You can reveal it to us a little at a time, and
right,
and it makes sense. So as Percy is learning who he is and learning about this world that he belongs to, so are we.
right,
You take your average viewer who's never read the books, who's never seen the movies, who has no idea what this TV show that they're getting into about this kid who suddenly is thrust into this world of Greek mythology, and it's like, how does this make sense? And they do a great job, I think, of introducing Percy to the world while introducing to the viewer to the world that surrounds them. So it's a lot of times when you like when I think about the movie Percy Jackson, I think it was so rushed, and
yeah,
you get boring monologues or
yep,
or like rushed speeches that like again, it's almost like it's being crammed down our throats. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
you need to understand what's happening here. Okay, well, slow down. Tell me what's happening, and let's get into it.
So moving to the second episode, where we get a little bit more, and thinking about like because these episodes are pretty short, right? What do we got? 30 minutes?
I haven't paid attention to how long they are.
I know that by the time they're done, I'm like, oh, that was I want more.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
the
what yeah. It's like when we're watching The Mandalorian and it's like you have a good episode and it's like, it's already over?
I know,
Son of a
no.
dog.
The but when you start to get to know or see the mom and you get a little bit more of the friend. I don't know about you, but my daughter and my wife who had not read the books and don't remember the movie, when his friend Grover, is it yeah, Grover.
Yeah,
When his
Grover.
friend Grover tells on it, or it's just like, yeah, he throws him under the bus about pushing the girl, you know. My wife and daughter were like, "What? What a loser! I hate him already." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no,
Your
no,
friend?
no." But he's a good actor too. He's
Yeah.
there's some great comedic elements for him in the first 4 episodes.
So far I'm really liking all of the kids that they've cast here. And of course we don't really see Annabeth until the second episode
Right.
here. Before we get to the second episode, I wanted to ask
Oh,
you, what do you think about the special effects? Because we got to see Electo, one of the Furies, and we saw the Minotaur
yeah.
towards the end of the episode. How are you feeling about the CGI that we're seeing in the
So
show?
I was impressed. My expectations were lower, but at the same time, it felt like money had been put into it for the Electo part. I thought that even the transition from human mode to whatever she's called, whatever that being is called, was good. And because she has a really close up moment with him right when she jumps on him,
Mhm.
and I thought it looked pretty good. Did you?
Yeah,
What did you think?
yeah, I agree. I think they've done a good job.
The Minotaur
Um,
part was too dark. Like you can get away with a lot in the dark. You
oh
know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
There's a
So
ton you can make a lot of sound and a lot of flashy stuff happen when you can't see it. So
yeah.
but overall I think, yeah, they've done a good job with CGI so far. It's really impressive. And yeah, we get kind of a cliffhanger there at the end of the episode. What happened to Sally? Is she dead? Did the gods intervene and transport her somewhere? All we see is the Minotaur's got her in his hands, and she just kind of fades into this golden shimmer.
Right. Right.
Um, but we'll find out more about that in episode 2. this one is I become Supreme Lord of the Bathroom. I love that they're taking the titles of the episodes straight out of the titles from the chapters of the book.
Yeah.
Um,
Which kind of leads you to believe that they are going to follow that train, you
right.
know, all the way, into the next series of books.
Yeah. Again, so this is where it's great that we can spread out the exposition because now Percy's at camp. He's introduced to Camp Half Blood. He's introduced to life as a demigod, and so are we, the audience. We get to understand. All right, so this is the safe place for the sons and daughters of the Greek gods to come and learn about who they are and to learn about their power and learn how to fight and defend themselves against all these monsters that are apparently out there trying to get to them at all times.
If there's
It's
any part that made me feel like the writer was involved in this, it was this part. Because when you're reading the book and you're starting to understand, he goes to the camp and there's a lot being told to you about the different places, the different houses and the layout and all that stuff. I felt like this was done very well for someone who had never seen it before, to kind of explain what people were doing there. Um, Much better than the movie, I guess I'd have to say.
and I like the layout of camp better than my imagination,
Yeah,
honestly. And because reading the books in my imagination, I'm really just picturing this big open campus.
right,
I'm not picturing that it's like in a camp, like in the woods or anything.
right,
I know that there's a forest on campus where they play capture the flag, but in my mind, I'm picturing all of the cabins in like this just big open field with a huge quad in the middle of it.
right.
Um, and here I like the way they've got everything set up a little bit better. It's more aesthetically pleasing than I had it in my head. I will say so. We get another introduction to a new character, Mr. D Dionysus, who is the director of camp, played by Jason Mantzoukas, and this dude is hilarious.
He's always
It
hilarious.
is spot on casting for him. If you
Yeah,
don't know who he is, he's another one of those guys who's like he's a comedian. He plays some parts in like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's been on Parks and Rec. He's
right.
all over the place when it comes to sitcoms these days. Um, but he's the kind of guy who's like got an intense kind of characteristic to him, and I hate that we don't get more screen time with him
You just didn't
because
have
of
enough
course
time, but
like
yeah,
the quest is going to take the kids away from camp, and so if you're away from camp you're not going to see Dionysus ever, but the screen time he does get, it's almost like
he
Creed
does
on The
well.
Office. It's like
Yeah,
every time he shows up on screen it's golden.
yeah. No,
um so
it was
spot on
good.
casting there.
I thought it was funny. He's like, "I'm your father." I
Yeah.
mean, he's playing a trick, just trying to get a
And I
drink.
need you to do me a favor.
There. So this is the only episode part that I thought. Well, there's one that happens in the fourth one. But this is one where there was a couple of things in it that that are not a problem with the show, but are a problem with the book, and a problem overall in the storyline for me. So, for example, one, his ability to react to someone trying to like skewer him with a spear or hit him with a sword. This kid who's like never fought, never gotten in a fight or anything like that. I could wrap my mind a little bit around it, be like, well, he's a demigod, so he's got some like natural instincts that are in his blood. All right, maybe. But then there's the part about the water. And the water part with him getting healed in the water has always bothered me, as much as it bothered me that like I felt like sometimes in Unbreakable with Bruce Willis, there was parts, for him about his strength. It's just like, really? You never, you're just now realizing you've never been sick, at the age of 40 something, right? It's like here you're looking at this and going, so you never like, I don't know, got a cut and had a little water, nothing ever, you know? That's always got me. Now, that's probably my only critique of this
Well,
book and the show thus far. But that thing that always gets me.
not to jump ahead to the latest episode, but think about it this way. When okay, in the latest episode, Percy was poisoned by the Chimera,
Right.
and they're trying to heal him in a fountain. right?
Right. And it doesn't do anything.
That's city water. So maybe Percy hasn't experienced getting hurt and then going to the ocean or going into a stream or something
Right.
and getting healed that way. So maybe that's the difference.
Maybe.
You're getting tap water that's been treated by the city with fluoride and crap in it, and so
Listen,
that's
hold
affecting
on.
it.
Hold on. This is like Twilight Zone. I'm supposed to be the one that's justifying for you stupid stuff, and you're supposed to be the one that's calling out stuff. All right, stop this. Sorry, let's flip around again. All right.
Sorry. All right. So capture the flag. I thought was a great sequence.
Yeah, that's great.
I love the okay, so we need to mention two other campers. Luke,
Yeah.
who is a fast friend with Percy. Luke is a son of Hermes, and
Yeah.
they get to know each other because audience, if you haven't seen this, the Hermes cabin is kind of the home to everybody who shows up at camp.
Travelers.
If they haven't been claimed yet, Hermes is the god of travelers. He's the messenger god, yes, but he's also the god of travelers. And so the Hermes cabin is open to anybody who comes to camp. If they have not been claimed by their godly parent yet, and they don't know what cabin they belong to, Hermes gets them. And so Hermes is a very large, very busy cabin with lots of kids. And Luke is an actual son of Hermes. He's kind of one of the older kids there. He's been there for a while, and he's like the head counselor in the Hermes cabin. But he kind of takes Percy under his wing a little bit, and Percy considers him to be a good friend within just this quick episode.
Right.
Um, and so you've got him, and then from the Ares cabin, we've got Clarice, who is a constant thorn in Percy's side.
Yeah.
I won't say anything else about her from future books, but it's not a spoiler to say that she is an antagonist for Percy throughout the entire series.
She
And I
breaks
thought that
her
they did a
spear.
great job casting her. She was great, and that's the stuff in the bathroom, exactly how I pictured in the book. It was so well done.
That was very well done. No, she's and important to note, he although she starts it, she antagonizes it, wanting to call out like he's a fake, admit it, but then even when it's very clear that he is not a fake, she still just hates him and can't stand him. And then in defense of himself, he breaks her spear. And I would imagine the spear is what was given to her. As
Yeah,
everybody has something that they've been given, right?
yeah, it
Uh,
was a gift from her dad, and yeah, and it was an accident. It's not like he meant to break it.
nope, but
Like she
that's not
attacked
how
him,
she
and he was
sees
defending
him.
himself.
So, but that was a cool episode. I really like our, we get introduced to Luke's sister, isn't it? So, isn't Annabeth Luke's sister?
He thinks of her as a sister.
Oh, he thinks of her as a sister.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like an adopted sister. So Annabeth is daughter of Athena,
yeah. I
and,
was going to ask this part because he says she's my sister, but he doesn't mean literally, right? Because
right,
because
yeah,
they're from two different gods.
yeah. So the way that their relationship works is Annabeth was a very small child when when Luke and Thalia were on the road trying to get to Camp Half Blood. They found Annabeth and took her in, and so they thought of her as like a little sister, and Luke continues to think of her as such, because he's the only one there to take care of her. But he also understands that she's not somebody who needs to be taken care of either. Like
Right.
she is a profound warrior. She's extremely wise for her age. I think that the girl playing her, Leah Sava Jeffries, is doing a fantastic job,
Yeah.
just embodying that mix of snark and intelligence that's required for Annabeth. Yeah, I think she's doing a great job, and I think I love the way that they use her. She obviously knows more, she infers more about Percy than he knows about himself, and is able to see that, all right, if you get in the water, you're going to heal yourself. and she pushes him into the water, and that's when he's claimed by Poseidon.
Right.
So she sees more for him than he sees in himself, which I think is great, and it certainly matches her character.
Let me ask you something now that we're kind of advancing on this, because I do want to talk about. I really want to get to the Medusa episode. I know we're running out of time. There's a couple of things that I knowing ahead of time. So, in the creds, they've got Lance Reddick, and I thought it was, Lance Reddick is Zeus, or at least the voice of Zeus. Lance Reddick has passed away,
Yeah,
and
this is going to be
so
his last on-screen appearance.
and so I'm interested. I'm assuming all of that gets handled, but because I haven't read past the first book, I don't know Zeus's involvement in the series. So without giving anything away, is there more that happens with Zeus along the way with the rest of the book series or the additional series? Are they going to have to recast this?
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
my thinking is they are going to have to recast it, which kind of sucks because Lance Reddick is fantastic.
And he's so unique. It's not like you can just say, "Hey, let me get another Lance Reddick lookalike." You know what I
Right.
mean? He is very much with his voice. It's like trying to replace Samuel L. Jackson. He is just very much him. It's going to be
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, I can't imagine what they're gonna do. I mean, you can get around you can when it comes to deities like this who can shapeshift, I'm sure you can get around the story and be like,
Oh,
well, he's just changed his appearance.
good point. That's a good point.
But I imagine they are gonna have to recast Zeus, simply because he does play a role. I mean, just like the rest of the gods do. They
Yeah.
play a role. It's not a large role because the series is about the kids and it's about their quests and or whatever. But
Right.
there are certain encounters they have with the gods, and you don't usually see the big ones. Like Zeus tries to stay out of things,
Right.
uh, but he's there. Like he's whenever they go to Olympus, he's going to be there. He's on his throne.
Well,
But
the other part I was going to say is, I from the credits, we haven't seen him on screen yet, though. But I'm looking forward to seeing Poseidon because that actor is from Lost in Space, and he's done other things too that I've liked a lot through the years. And it's I think it's Toby Stevens, I think. Um, but I'm looking forward to seeing him on screen.
something
Um,
we should mention as part of the plot here too is Percy is a kid who shouldn't exist.
right.
Um, the so part of the main plot is that the big three decades ago vowed not to have any more children because their
Big
children
three being uh
Zeus,
Zeus,
Poseidon, and
Poseidon,
Hades.
and Hades, yeah.
Yeah, so they vowed not to have any more children because theirs tend to be the most powerful of the demigods, and that usually leads to things like world wars. So uh, they vowed not to have any more kids, but here we are. Percy is now the son of Poseidon. We mentioned Thalia earlier, who was somebody we haven't seen, we haven't met, but I'm sure maybe in flashbacks we will meet her. She was traveling with Luke and Annabeth and was turned into a tree by Zeus just before they reached Camp Half Blood. She is a daughter of Zeus, and so she should not have existed either. But so now we see there have been two of these forbidden children, and right now Percy's the only one that we still have with us.
Right.
Um, right.
Also, we should mention the part about what has been alleged with the lightning. The whole reason. So go ahead.
Yeah, so because now they've confirmed that he's the son of Poseidon, Percy is accused of stealing Zeus's master lightning bolt from Olympus, which is like how can you be accused of that? He didn't even know who he was before today. And so now he's got this quest where he has to go and find the lightning bolt and return it to Olympus by the summer solstice, which is 2 weeks away. But he's not interested in that. He's more interested in finding his mom. And
Right.
Grover has revealed that his mom is still alive and being held captive by Hades in the underworld. So
Yeah.
that's where we're going. We're going to the underworld
Right.
and we're going to go get Sally Jackson back because Hades thinks he has the lightning bolt. and thinks he can trade Sally for the lightning bolt. So it's this whole big thing. But all Percy cares about is getting his mom back, which who
Right.
can blame him?
Right. And so now we have the journey of three, so Annabeth, Grover, and Percy are on their quest, and they find themselves going to Medusa's place. And
Right.
I I don't know if you remember. Did you watch The Flash? Did you watch all the way through
You,
to meet Nora?
well, I didn't watch
Not
the entire
Nora.
series, but
What's
I
the other?
knew Nora West is or Nora Allen is their future daughter.
Yeah.
So she's played by Jessica Parker Kennedy, who shows up here as Medusa, which is great.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
I love that.
Um, yeah, this episode number 3 is we visit the Garden Gnome Emporium. And yeah, so I don't know that we're supposed to know it's Medusa at first, but it's pretty obvious
Right.
when as soon as they get there and there's all these stone statues. It's like something straight out of Clash of the Titans, man.
It really was. Well, and then that's what I was telling the kids too. The part about her trying to sweet talk the situation made her much like I don't know, it's a Hansel and Gretel sort of situation, going in there like that. I remember reading it and thinking to myself, this is, maybe she's the good character, maybe she's, and I'm like, nope, nope. No, not
I
at
think they
all.
want us to be careful about monsters and heroes because they've had that line from Percy's mom in the first episode,
Yeah,
reminding him that not everything that looks like a monster is a monster, and not everyone who looks like a hero is a hero.
right.
And I think we need to take that to heart as we go through the next, half of the season, because I think we're going to be surprised by some of the things we see uh, come down the pipeline. Um, so yeah, this episode I really didn't feel like did a whole lot as far
No,
as like advancing the story. I mean, I
only
know
the
it's
characters.
important.
Yeah,
Right. It's important to see what's going on as far as, we have this pit stop at Medusa's place, and I think that what's important for this episode is that our trio of heroes they learn to trust each other a
right.
little better and learn to fight together instead of separately. And so
Yeah, it
that's
should
really
be
important.
it should be noted that, before going on the quest, Percy had gone to see the Oracle, which was a crazy scene. And there was a prophecy of that one of his friends would betray him. And so there's been this seed of mistrust, going on. There's been things withheld that they're not telling each other. And this episode kind of brought a lot of that to a head. And they were able to work together. Now there's some things that still get worked out, or their relationships continue to cultivate throughout the whole thing, and even in the episode 4. But this one kind of like everybody had to lay it out. And by the end of the episode, it was like, I didn't trust you, but I did this. And or, it's just like they're each able to answer in a way that they're helping each other. So I thought that tied it up well because this last episode, the latest episode, because there's gonna be 8, right? I think
Yeah.
that's what I saw. There's 8 in this first. So we get into this 4th episode, and now they're in transit. They've sent Medusa's head to, the Empire State Building, which is where Olympus is, on the 600th floor or something. And that obviously is a big deal.
That was a very impertinent thing to do.
Yeah, Athena wasn't happy about it, which is ironic. Um, but anyway, so it's like now they're on their way, and they encounter another one of these. This part was a little confusing to me because the lady who plays the what is that? What are they called? The characters that
Echidna,
what did you say?
her name, the Echidna.
Yeah, so Electo, the one with
Electo is a
Megan
Fury.
Mullally. So is that another Fury, or is it the same
Echidna?
Fury that was brought back from Hades?
No. Okay, so Electo is Megan Mullally's character. She's a Fury, and
Yeah.
that's one of there are 3 Furies in Hades that
Okay.
serve Hades.
So they all look
Um,
the same.
I think so. I think they do.
Well, they'd have to because he killed the first one at the beginning of the, or she went to Hades, or did that one is the one who came back on the bus?
Some monsters can come back quickly. I assume that that was the same one.
Okay, it's the same one because then we meet Echidna.
Yeah, Echidna is a different creature. Okay, Echidna is the mother of monsters in Greek mythology. I think she is the daughter of Gaia, maybe,
Okay,
um, who is Mother Earth. And so basically, the idea there is that Echidna, all the monsters that the demigods have had to face throughout mythology and history, uh, they are somehow akin to Echidna. And so she's carrying this little, what we think is like a vicious little puppy in her, you know, designer carrying case. It's really the Chimera, which is, gosh, it's a lion mixed with a serpent mixed with a an eagle or something. I can't remember what all like goes into it, but it's definitely venomous. It's got a scorpion's tail, and can easily leave a stinger in its victim, which it does with Percy when they go on a chase and get thrown off the
pretty
train. And
pretty cool scene though. I mean, she's pretty ominous. I thought that was awesome. But yeah, he gets done. They did good with the effect of him too. He looked pretty rough.
yeah, yeah, the makeup they did there to make him look sick and, well, poisoned, dying,
Right,
was really good. And I loved the moment at the end, when they're in the St. Louis Arch, and he kind of flips the script on Annabeth
right,
and Grover and pushes them out because he knows he's the one who has to face the Chimera. And
right,
I mean, he feels like he's dying anyway at this point. So it's like,
right,
you guys need to go get the bolt, take
right,
care of it. And so he sacrifices himself, except he doesn't really. He doesn't have to. And we think it's the worst because he's falling out of the St. Louis Arch and plummeting toward the ground, and then here comes this water spout out of the Mississippi River, and we assume it grabs him, and then the next thing we see is him at the bottom of the river, and he's trapped, his foot's stuck on something. So okay, well, he survived the fall, but now he's going to drown. Except now he's not going to drown because he's the son of Poseidon. And that was something great. I loved that the you got the water nymph that was there to kind of explain to him, hey, you're a son of
breathe.
Poseidon. Just
Yeah,
breathe. Just relax, breathe. I'm here because your father sent me. He's proud of you. And that's straight out of the book too.
yeah,
And Percy is, this is where he really is introduced to what true power he has.
right.
And it's so great. I loved it.
Well, I think it was a great first four episodes. I like I said, we watched back to back. We couldn't stop. All four of us were sitting there, entranced by it. And now I'm in the spot where I have to wait, you know, every week, like the old days. And then on top of it, I'm traveling for work, so it's like, oh God, we all got to really wait,
Mhm.
till we're together.
Everyone's got to
So.
suffer.
So, but it's exciting. I'm looking forward to what's next. I'm trying to wrap my head around if they are doing the first full book in 8 episodes, are they going to fully wrap up everything that needs to happen still for the book in those 4 episodes? And I think so. Getting to the part with him getting the water to the water nymph. I don't remember where that was at in the book, but I feel like a lot was accomplished to get where we are. It's just, I feel like there's a lot more, especially in thinking about Hades and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it really is. It's interesting to see how they're going to play it out. And we are halfway through the season, so I don't know where that is as far as like being halfway through the book. I know that there are some really like big beats that we need to hit
Yeah.
coming up, and I can see those as, this episode will be about this one will be about that, and then like we're gonna have to wrap it up. Um I don't know. I without getting the spoilers, I can't really say anything. But I'm interested in seeing how they're gonna wrap it up. And gosh, I'm already looking forward to seeing the progress that they make as far as each season that comes out. I'm gonna be one of those optimistic kind, for once. I'm gonna be optimistic and hope that Disney Plus sees that this is a hit and will continue investing the kind of money they've already invested in the first season and keep making it a great show.
Yeah.
Moving through the the rest of the books. Just give us those first 5 books. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Um, any other thoughts before we wrap up, man?
No, no, I'm looking forward to it. And then for our listeners, we will come back and do the second half of this after all the remaining season is done, and we'll talk about the last part and then just kind of wrap it all up for the first season.
Absolutely. That'll be about a month from now, after the next 4 episodes. So hang on to that. Keep watching it. And if you have any thoughts of your own about these first 4 episodes, please let us know. Before we go, I did want to give a shout out to our young friend Ferris McFly, who left a comment on Spotify for us. Um, and it was about this last episode that I did where I was flying solo, and I was just talking about movies that are coming out this year. And he called me out. I did not mention the new Lord of the Rings movie that's coming out. It's an animated feature that's hitting in December. I think it's called The Lords of Rohirrim.
Oh,
It's supposed to take place hundreds of years before Lord of the Rings, and tells the story of Helm's Deep. I did
nice.
not mention that. I'm sorry. I just did not get around to adding that to the list. And to be honest, it's because I'm not that interested. A lot of the spin-offs that I've seen from Lord of the Rings have not really done it for me, and so I haven't really been interested in it. And and I should have added it to the list because I went ahead and added other movies that I'm not interested in seeing, like Mufasa, things like that. But Landon, have you heard of this Lord of the Rings prequel that's coming
No,
out?
but I am interested because I remember my first exposure to Lord of the Rings was and Hobbit, what were the cartoons? Remember those old 80s cartoons,
Yeah,
with the weird art,
the
Uh,
Ralph Bakshi.
yeah, yeah. And so you never know. You never know. These kind of things. I've always been surprised by what HBO Max has done with the Batman and superhero storylines they've done. There's so much you can accomplish to go in on these little sideways, or even looking at what we're going to talk about for the next episode. What if you can do so much with animation and characters that you really don't have the budget or the ability to do
Yeah.
in a live action? So I don't know. I think it's worth watching. We'll see.
All right. Well, that's it for us this week or this episode. We are going to uh, take a break from here and then come back on Saturday. We're going to be talking about the What If season 2 on Disney Plus. Man, Disney Plus needs to be sponsoring us since we've been doing so many shows of theirs. Don't
Correct.
forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever we post something new. Until next time, have a great whatever it is, wherever you are.
See ya.